Welcome to GBIRL, the podcast looking at the real business world of esports, gaming, and streaming with the people and personalities behind it all. Here is your host, Bill the Conqueror.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I try to interview people who, on this podcast, who have worked, are working in the gaming industry in various positions, because I want to give you the insight into what they do on a day-to-day basis. And, you know, some of you know, some of you don't. You know, I spent 20 years as a fast-pitch softball umpire. And that's a job because you spend so much time on the field and off the field. And I always tell people what you see on the camera is about 10 to 15% of what people actually do. The other part of it is a lot of study, a lot of handling the technical details, a lot of behind the scenes stuff to set yourself up to be on camera, to be in front of everybody, to perform. And I have with me today somebody who I would like to consider a friend, because she is a fabulous human being who has given me some opportunities in this whole gaming industry. She and I met, I want to say, a little over a year and a half ago when I was streaming more frequently. You were doing your Gambit thing with Big Daddy Tej. And so she is the former partnerships manager for AdvancedGG. You can see on the overlay, though, she now has a new position. And now today, as of the day we're recording this, I have MagickMoonshot. She's with me today. She has a new position as the talent recruiter for Soft Giving. I wanted to get into her experience with AdvancedGG, what she did on a daily basis in terms of communication and outreach and growth. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details, Magic, thank you for making time for me today.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for the invite. I'm super honored.
Great. Thank you very much. Just a short little intro about yourself, a little bit of background into your own life, your own streaming career. Go ahead.
Yes, I've been in gaming industry, streaming content creation for about 5.5 years now, which is crazy to think about. But
right.
I think originally when I started, I've always played video games. And this was back in the Destiny 1 days, original Destiny.
Wow.
One of my friends was going to start streaming, and he was like, hey, you should stream too. And then we can do a stream together. Like, we can do a show together. So he actually was the one that got me started on it. And once I tried streaming, I tell you what, Bill, I got bit by the streaming bug. There was one point in the first year where I quit. I was like, this is taking too much time and attention. I don't have time for this. I quote unquote quit streaming, and 2 weeks later I was back to it. So even when I had my daughter, right? She's 3 now. When I had my daughter, people are like, oh, Magic's going to be away for a while. She just had a baby. No, it was 5 days. I was out for 5 days. And I was back.
5 days. Wow.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back. So, yeah, it kind of just started off like on a whim. I don't think I really started streaming more seriously until I moved over to Mixer. Then I started to kind of really be interested in like the streaming culture, learning about streaming, maybe business practices or best practices of streaming. So I became a partner on Mixer. I had 31,000 followers on Mixer. And then I actually moved back to Twitch January of 2020, which was like 6-ish months before Mixer shut down. So people said, how did you know Magic? And I said, well, I got a little bit lucky on that one. But yeah, I love it. Right now, I consider streaming a hobby, and I'm kind of using more of my attention, more of my time towards, I think, what we're going to talk about, which is, you know, the job I do, the work I do that supports other people's in their streams. But I still like being part of that whole streaming culture, even if I'm not like pursuing it as a career myself.
Right. Okay. So walk me through those first couple of steps before you started working for Advanced, and then you got connected to them, and how did that all come together? Because I think a lot of people don't understand the process, and I want to get your insight on how to network, how to make those connections, because those people seem to be, and probably for good reason, they seem to be hard to contact.
I mean, it depends on the company. It's a case by case basis. So I was a partner with Advanced before I ever even considered going on staff with them. So that was back in the Mixer days. My channel grew, and I was reached out to by a couple of companies, 2 that I still work with to this day and absolutely back, which is AdvancedGG, and then Gamer Advantage, which is the glasses. So those are the 2 companies that back when I was on Mixer reached out about bringing me on as a partner, with commission percentage and a link and other perks and stuff. So I was a partner with Advanced for a while before even thinking about working in the industry. So then it was at Guardian Con, which was, it must have been Guardian Con, or maybe, no, it might have been it was still Guardian Con actually at that year. So it must have been it was 2019, summer of 2019. I went to Guardian Con. I got to meet Peter, who's the Advanced CEO. I got to meet Eric, who's the CMO there. So like the two head guys, I actually got to meet them at the booth at Guardian Con 2019. So fast forward to fall. At the time I was a math tutor, but the school I was tutoring at, they had to cut their funding. So I lost my job because they didn't have the funding to have a math tutor at the school anymore. And so I was kind of left with, well, what do I do now? I have young kids at home. I really want something that's, a part-time or a work from home, because I need that flexibility to take care of my kids. And so I ended up on Hitmarker, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Bill.
I can personally attest to the high quality people at Hitmarker. They have been very kind to me over the past couple of years, giving me time to interview them, ask them important questions, things like that. So yes, I do know Hitmarker, and if you want to be in the gaming industry, you should be on Hitmarker.
Absolutely.
Hitmarker is a high quality site run by high quality people. So yes, absolutely.
So I was on Hitmarker, and I had just lost my tutoring job. I wasn't really sure what was next. And I saw a posting from Advanced. So I didn't really go the traditional route of applying through the website, which a lot of times you can. I actually reached out to Peter first. Directly via Discord DM, by the way. So I kind of already had a little bit of an in because I was a partner. I had a little bit more of a connection because I had met them at Guardian Con. And so I just used that to open up the conversation. So Peter referred me back to Eric, and Eric and he interviewed me. We had an interview, and he brought me on and he trained me up, and all of that good stuff. So I have a lot to owe to Advanced. I've thanked them personally, but I mean, they brought me on without any direct work experience, just because I was ready, I was willing, I was wanting to get involved, and they were willing to let me learn on the fly, which is what I did, and I loved it.
See, and that's really interesting. I want people to understand that whole little story right there, is that not only were you an Advanced partner, but you also went out and met them in person at Guardian Con. Now, I realize in-person events in this time, hard to get involved with, hard to get to that. At the same time, you were already creating content, you're already streaming, you're already doing all of this.
Yeah.
And so I hope that people understand that what you do online affects everything that you do going forward. So people will see your creations and see what you have done and look at your body of work to see what kind of a person you are. And so that's I think that piece right there is really important to point out, because a lot of people think they just send off the resume, send off the cover letter, and that's it. It's like, no, there's actually a larger piece there, right?
Yeah, I mean, the gaming esports industry is still small. Like, you might not think of it as small, but it is small in the circles of people that know each other. So I think like, I guess one thing I've kind of learned through that process was every person you run across, like treat them well, like treat them with respect, not just because you're trying to get something from them, but because you are building up a name for yourself, even when you might not realize that you are.
Right. Okay. So you get the job, and so your first day at work, your first week at work, what was it like?
So right off the bat, I was kind of shadowing Eric, which is Far Cognitions on Twitter. He kind of just took me under his wing. He let me like listen in on some calls that he was doing with partners. He helped me, like, if I found a lead that I wanted to work with, he helped to say, okay, well, send them a Twitter DM or reach out to them on Discord. Okay, now set up a call. And so he really like walked me through step by step through what that process looked like. But I think even more valuable than here's what to do is he taught me how to do things, which I soaked it up because he has so much like experience in the industry, and he just had a wealth of knowledge that he was willing to share with me about things like, I'll always remember, he said, you need to listen more than you talk. You know, if you're interviewing a potential partner, listen to what they have to say before you say anything. That's more important than what you have to say, is being willing to listen. Things like that he taught me were more of the, not so cut and dry, not just like the pen and paper type of factual stuff, but just how to do things the right way. Okay.
So right there is an important point that I want to kind of break down. So your boss brings you in. He says, okay, I want you to sit and listen. I want you to take notes. I want you to ask me questions. And then he shows you how to do it, or shows you what to do, shows you how to do it. So what were three things that he told you to look for in partners?
Okay, so two that might be a little bit more expected. You want to look for community engagement. So not just how many viewers they have, but like how well are they engaging with the people that are either in their chat or on their Twitter feed or in their Discords. So community engagement, which I think is a little bit kind of obvious. I think a second thing would be maybe established track record. So it's harder to work with somebody who's brand new, fresh, and not tested. So having people with a little bit of experience is a good thing. But the third one that might catch people off guard, I remember he told me, he said, work with people that you want to work with. Because if you enjoy somebody's channel, somebody's content, you'll enjoy working with them more. And like, that's okay. So work with the type of people that you want to work with. So I think those were probably the first three things.
See, okay, now right there, that speaks to the culture of the company. That speaks directly to the culture of the company. Not saying that one style is worse than the other, but you want to enjoy what you do so that it shows through in the people that you deal with. I know a lot of marketing companies who work strictly on numbers, and so they're always chasing the numbers. They're always wanting to see follower count grow. They want to see the amount of posts grow, and they watch the engagement numbers off of that. Versus, I've been in streams where there might be 14 people in chat, but the chat is active. I mean, everybody's talking to everybody. Some people are having side conversations. The actual streamer might be talking to 2 or 3 people. Some people might be throwing in thoughts, but I've seen chats with 300 people, and you have granted the streamer cannot interact with everybody when your chat gets that big and people are that many people are watching, but they're just kind of blank face sitting there not doing anything. There's a big difference between an engaged chat and somebody who just has high viewership. And so like you said, work with people whose content that you like. it definitely creates a bond because now you want to see them succeed and they want to succeed for you. They're like, hey, this person, we get along really well. I like AdvancedGG because, you know, the people I work with are good people. They enjoy what, and that shows through for them. So I really like that he stated that up front to, hey, do this. This works long term. That speaks directly to culture of the game. That's fantastic. Okay, so you have so you're starting your first day, your first week, your first month. What was something that Peter or Eric said to you very early on that maybe didn't register at the time, but as you got more experienced in your job, you're like, he's totally right about that.
Wow. I think the idea of if somebody doesn't absolutely believe in the product or stand behind it,
right,
then we shouldn't be chasing after them. We want people to work with us that want to work with us and not us just chasing them.
Okay, so
that was something I think at the beginning,
right?
I thought it was like we should convince people, right, that our product is good, that they should want to work with us.
Okay.
But like as time went on, it was more, Advanced was growing a lot at the time, is still growing a lot, which is awesome because now more people are coming to their door instead of vice versa.
Right.
But the idea of we don't have to sell this to the partners so much. We want the people that are already, you know, on board to get plugged in and to be able to support them, to be able to help them grow, to be able to push them forward. But I think that took me a while to learn and understand that. Okay.
So tell me a story about somebody that you approached, you gave them the presentation and the pitch and they said no.
It didn't happen very often, and I'm not just saying that. I'm being honest.
Sure,
it was very minimal, but it did happen a couple of times.
Okay.
And I think the one person, I honestly don't remember their name, so I'm not leaving their name out. I don't remember their name. They kind of came to us, but they were already working with a competitor, and so they were basically they were shopping, I guess is how I would describe it.
Okay.
And so they wanted to see what we had to offer, and when the offer we gave them wasn't as high as the competitor, they were really difficult to communicate with. They didn't respond very well. They kind of were leading me on. And then eventually they said, yeah, no, I'm not going to work with you. So that was one of those things where it showed me they weren't really wanting to work with us. They were shopping for the best bargain, which is not really what Advanced is all about.
Okay. So
yeah.
Okay. At what point in your at what point in your professional development did you start to fine tune that sense where you knew that perhaps you wanted to work with someone, but the more you like looked at what they did or read the things that they wrote or even watched their stream threads, you sort of started to develop a sense of, I don't know this person fits or not.
I feel like that was kind of something that grew over time. I don't think it was like an off and on switch. It was just something that slowly started to get a little bit easier. Okay. I think I started to just trust my instinct a little bit more as far as kind of talent scouting or finding people that are the right fit. So I don't know if I could tell you like this is when it happened, because I think it was just a progression where I started to kind of get the feel for what Advanced was looking for and what that type of creator looks like. I will say this, like, you know, from when I started to when I ended, as far as me reaching out to people, it was either to ask them if they want to try our product or ask them what they think of our product if they already tried it, because I found that to be just the right starting place. Because if they backed the product, then they'd make a good partner. If they didn't, they weren't going to. Okay. But I did also give out a lot of, you know, samples to people that we were interested in working with. Let a lot of people test it out. The one of my most recent partners that I had brought on, I actually found her from a TikTok clip, no less. So she posted a clip of her stream on TikTok. I thought it was hilarious. I liked it. I checked out her channel and her socials, and I was like, she'd be a great fit. And she wasn't familiar with us. We sent her some product. She loved it. We signed her up, and like she was great to work with. So I think it was one of those things that there wasn't on and off. It just grew over time.
So so and that should be with any job. As the more you do it, the more you realize the parameters that work for you in what you do, and that's great. Now, so the fun part is the outreach. The fun part is perhaps the conversation, maybe sitting on stream going, you should try this new flavor, but I think what people will never see from people in your position is the other 85% of the things that you do during the day, whether that's like doing your research. I mean, just doing the basic paperwork of, shipped out these 4 cases of a product today to this streamer, or if somebody reaches out and said, hey, I thought you were going to send me this box. I haven't seen it yet. Those like details behind the scenes. So
yeah.
Tell me about your daily routine.
Okay, so my day-to-day routine is very scattered. So my husband would laugh and say, you're always working. I was not like at my desk for set hours. I was just always on and off. A lot of it is answering DMs as they come in, or addressing problems. But I did a variety of things. So I would look for leads. I would contact leads. Sometimes the hardest part was finding the best way to contact a lead, because some people have like open DMs on Twitter. Some people have a business email. And then some people, actually, I would go into their Discord server so I could message them on Discord. So finding a way to reach out to the people you want to reach out to is the tricky part. But then a lot of the behind the scenes stuff is, like you said, placing orders, updating like contact information, checking up on orders, if like, sending shipping confirmation to people, data entry stuff so that we're staying organized. And then like to me, the fun part was always the one-on-one meetings, whether it's with a potential lead or it's one of our partners that we're, ongoing working with. I always love doing that, but there's a lot more of the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, I can't really tell you what the daily routine was because I didn't have one. It was just always juggling a lot of different things, which I love. Not everybody likes that kind of chaos, but I enjoy living in that chaos. And so I used spreadsheets. I came up with a spreadsheet on my own. That was what I used to keep organized, kind of like a checklist. And that helped me to stay on track with kind of a lot of messages all over the place. But
and that's a perfect lead in to my next question. From when you started to kind of when you finished, what sort of organizational skills did you have to pick up? Were you forced to learn because you very quickly realized I gotta have some structure here, because I can't just like, I have to have a system for myself. Whatever that system is, doesn't matter. Like you said, you developed your own spreadsheet so that had the categories you wanted on it with the information that you needed to do your job better. So what were some things that you were forced to learn?
So when I first started on, we used a lot more spreadsheets. Since then, they implemented a lot of systems within Advanced that really help with organization. So I have to credit that. It's a lot better of a system now, a lot more organized, a lot better structure. One thing that I ended up doing for myself, so I had my own spreadsheet for tracking my partners and their information to make sure everything's on track there. But I also created a private channel in my own Discord server, and it's literally I think it's literally called Advanced Pasta. It's copy paste messages, and it not in the sense of spammy, but when you answer the same question 50, 60, 70, 100 times, you come up with one best way to answer that question. And so I started to save it. And so I created a folder of copy paste messages that I used in a variety of scenarios, so that I wasn't reinventing the wheel every time I ran across, the same issue, the same question. So I think those two things were what I used to kind of stay organized and to stay more consistent, more efficient. And then obviously we had some built-in systems within the company that helps with keeping on top of things too.
See, I really like that you had a document, a space where you knew I think I'm going to answer this question 90,000 times in the next 24 hours instead of typing it every single time. Just hit Control C, Control V, and we're done. And it saves you. It saves that probably just that piece probably saves you per day at least 20, 25 minutes where you know. It's right here, bang, bang, we're done. And see, it's those skills that you have to teach yourself kind of on the fly. It's like, how do I make my life easier? Because in the end, I'm responsible for these, 47 things because, this is what I do. How do I make my systems faster? And I've actually, funny story. I've developed my own CRM by using Google Sheets and Google Docs, and it's actually pretty simple when you think about it. It takes some time to set it up, but I don't have to pay for it, so it's very simple to the point. It works. I mean, when you're operating on a shoestring budget like I have in the past with some groups, you have to come up with ways you have to slay this monster of getting organized. How do you do it? And keep it portable. Keep it portable because, I've gone to events where you're like working with people and you're like, hey, I'm the person that I talked to for this company. I don't remember their name. Hold on a second. Let me check my phone. I go into my sheet. Okay. I talked to this person. Oh yeah. Okay. I know who you are. Okay. We've had this conversation. Plus being able to go back into like a chat history. Okay, so on this date we talked about this, on this date we talked about this. Just simple things of keeping yourself organized. I think a lot of people don't really wrap their heads around is that what you do to keep yourself on task and focused is very important because like I said, people see that 10-15% of you being out in front of everybody, showing the product, sending the product, talking to the streamers, but there's the other 85% that you have to do in order to get to that point, right?
Yes. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff to better support the partners, and you come up with systems that work for you. And it's not one thing I wanted to say. It's not just about getting the job done quicker, although that's part of it, efficiency, but it's also like the mental strain because it's all multitasking and it's all juggling of people, right? Like these people matter, and making sure they're well taken care of is important. So part of it's the time, but also it's partly is just being able to put my mind at ease. Like if I had one answer for a question and I used it over and over again, well, then maybe I could come up with a better way to word it, or maybe it needs to get updated. So then I update the information. So I'm just making sure that I'm not over stressing about getting all those details right because I have it saved somewhere, and that made it a lot easier.
Okay. So what I would think is funny is that there's this perception of what people think that you do. And then there's what you actually do. So when you talk to people about what you do, what are some common misunderstandings that you deal with all the time? You're like, no, that's not actually what I do.
Well, probably the main one is, oh wow, you get to watch Twitch for a living, which is like you said, that's the tip of the iceberg. It is cool. It is really cool. There was one partner who was in a big tournament, and I hung out in the whole tournament because I was running giveaways for them, and I was, talking to the chat, talking about our products. But that's pretty rare that I get to just sit down and just watch some channels because there's always, the number of tabs I have up on my computer at any given time is just absurd. But people just see, oh, wow, you're in somebody's Twitch chat and that's part of your job. That's pretty cool. So I think that's probably the main misconception, which is part of it. But again, it's all this behind the scenes, checking out orders, setting up codes, making sure people get paid out correctly. All of the detail organization stuff behind the scenes is really the bulk of it. I tell people it's pretty much half customer service and half like sales marketing type stuff. So for me, it was fun to have a little bit of variety and to learn some new skills on those two sides. But it's not always just sitting on Twitch, hanging out in people's chats all day. Right.
And I think people who are a little older have that understanding of, I would love to sit in Twitch chat all day, but that doesn't actually pay my bills, right?
No, it's part of the job, which is fun.
Right. Okay. So what are some things that you knew as you become experienced, as you grew into the job and became good at? What are some things that you wish you had known at the start that you had learned at the end?
Oh, that's a really hard one. That's a hard question, Bill.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I gotta think back to my past self.
Right.
I'm really bad at patting myself on the back, so it's hard to be like, oh, look at what I've learned now. Let me think. Well, I guess I'll start with one and I'll see if that sparks any more ideas. One I kind of touched on earlier was just learning to trust my instincts about people, about ones who would be a good fit, regardless of channel size or ones that weren't a good fit, regardless of what kind of reach they might have had. So I think I definitely learned to just kind of trust my instincts when it came to talent scouting. So that was good. Another thing was, I think learning to be, how do I phrase it? Learning to be genuine with people, I think is something that I have learned, but off the bat, you have to be careful too, especially if you're doing some copy paste stuff. How do you do it so it doesn't sound like it's coming from a robot? Learning how to, share enough about my personal life with people so that they can feel that there's a personal connection beyond just, hey, we want to sign you as a partner and get you set up. So being willing to be genuine and open up with people, like, if I had a headache one day, like, hey, I might have to cut this meeting a little bit short. I'm dealing with a headache. And people were so super understanding about that. But being able to be open and honest about good things or bad things, or wow, today was such a great day. It was my daughter's birthday, or like whatever the case may be. So being willing to share little tidbits of like my personal life, I think really helps with building those connections. So that's 2 out of 3. Okay, what's the third thing?
What's the third thing?
I think oh man, there's so much.
Let me phrase this. Let me phrase it this way. So I think it's important to highlight a relationship. Here they are. I see you. The kisses. All right. I like that. It's perfect.
Love you.
That was awesome. I love that moment. I think it's important to highlight the relationship that you had with your bosses. And so I guess was there something in he's so wonderful, isn't he?
That's Olivia. So
she is? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She just has her hair back in a ponytail, so you can't see her curls.
Got it. I think it's important to highlight the relationship that you have with your bosses. And so I mean, starting off that job and not really having the direct skill set to do that, they gave you that opportunity to kind of learn on the job. And so you just kind of, as you went, you would perhaps have to go back to them for feedback or back to them for support or questions? I mean, talk about that.
Yeah, I guess one thing I learned was knowing when you're in over your head. Is that kind of what you're describing?
Yes, exactly.
Being willing to ask for help, or knowing when something is, it's okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to see a task or an issue at hand and be like, I don't know how to handle this. Right. That does not mean that you have failed. That just means it's a chance to learn, and sometimes it's a chance to bring in call on the authorities to help out a little bit more. But that's good.
So talk about the very first time that you had to do that.
Oh man, I mean, I think I was doing that like all throughout. So, first it was with Eric, when there was, hey, I don't know how to negotiate this deal. Can you come help out? Or, this person isn't responding to me. How much should I, be persistent? How much should I just let it go? Okay. And then after about a year, then Cody came on board, and he was working in partnerships for a while. And then he became the director of partnerships. So then he was the person I would go to and be like, hey, can you come help me with this negotiation? Or I'm running into this issue. How do you want me to handle it, or whatever? So I feel like it did get easier for me to know when to ask for help. And of course, like everybody I worked for was so gracious at not just like training me, but being willing to help out when I felt kind of stuck. Okay.
And then and should also recognize not only in your business life, but your personal life. So when it comes to your family, when it comes to your kids, when it comes to your husband, when you're basically like on the clock 24/7 because you're always answering DMs. Talk about that sort of barrier right there, because obviously there has to come a point where you say, okay, I'm going to put my phone down, and today I'm spending time with kids. I'm doing husband things. I'm going to do laundry today. Whatever that means.
Yeah. Well, I think when it comes to that, which you're totally right, that's a big hurdle, and I don't think I've mastered that balancing aspect of it. But when it comes to that, I mean, the best way to handle when there's like maybe a conflict between your personal life, your work life, like in that way, is just open communication, both sides. So sometimes it means I go back to my husband, hey, can you watch the kids because I have this meeting or this call or this obligation? Sure. And obviously whenever he was able to, he did, but then it has to work the other way too. Right. No, I can't do any meetings on Monday night. That's our date night. I wouldn't schedule meetings then, or I'd ask them to reschedule if they put something during our date night. And then it got to the point where when we would go on date night, my husband would lock the phone in the glove box because I would be tempted to check DMs or to answer things. But it can wait. It can wait a few hours to give that undivided attention to your spouse. But that was something that was hard and a learning process for me. Or if we're in the evening, we just want to have some quality time together or talking, I would hand my phone to him. Like, here, take it out of my hand, because I'm so to just quick answer that DM or quick check on this thing, which I can do the next morning, or I can do in a couple hours, or whatever the case may be. So open communication was super important. And then sometimes it worked the other way too. We had just last month, actually in October, my husband's grandmother was really sick, and we one evening decided we were going to drive through the night to get from Florida to Kentucky. So I messaged everybody at my job, and I made another copy paste message for the partners who I had meetings scheduled for that week, and just let them know, like, hey, I'm really sorry this came up. I'll make sure to get back with you once I'm back in town, or whatever. And so everybody was very, very understanding of us drive. We drove through the night. We spent, I think, 4 days up in Kentucky. We drove with the kids back. But I was pretty much off for a week. And again, it just came down to that, like being open with the communication, and it all worked out. So then I came back and I caught up with the people I missed and rescheduled and got back on track.
So for some people, it is some people feel that it is hard to set boundaries. Was that something that you struggled with at first and then you sort of developed over time, or the fact that you had a family, you knew I gotta have a point at which I cut it off?
That is still something I am not great at.
Okay.
So I don't think I can speak to being like, yes, we got that figured out, but we did get better. So if my husband needed my attention, I told him, like, you just need to ask me to turn off the phone or to hand the phone over to you.
Okay.
Because I know for me, if the phone is in my hand and I can answer DMs or I can answer emails or I can answer messages, then it's pretty much a constant distraction. So I just had to tell him to ask me to take it away and then hand it over. So we got better at finding some ways, to set those boundaries. But I mean, I don't think it's something you ever have like solved. I think it's just a constant balancing act.
And see, I like that you say it that way. Is that it's not something that you have fixed, but you know that you have to put the effort into it. And I really like that. I really like that sort of a mindset. It's like, look, I need to make sure that I make time for the people that are important in my life, my family, my kids, my spouse, whatever that looks like. And if that means your husband walks up to you and goes, "Hey, I think you should hand me your phone right now," and you're like, okay, what's on your mind, right?
yeah, exactly. Or like even more recently, getting back into the gym. Well, if I'm going to make the gym a priority, then I need to have blocks of time that I'm not scheduling meetings or that I'm not, scouting for talent or not answering DMs or whatever. So it can be anything. Obviously, like close family and people that depend on you as first, but it can apply to a lot of things where it's just a matter of setting boundaries and balancing. And it's okay if you don't have it perfect, try something and see where it takes you, and then be willing to be flexible.
Very nice. Okay. Now, as of today, as of the day that we are recording this conversation, you tweeted out that you now have a new position. That position is listed on the overlay. You are now the influencer talent recruiter for Soft Giving. So so one of the things that is hard to learn, anybody, even me, is that things start and that things end. There comes a point in your personal and your professional life where you're like, I need to move forward with this. So I guess sort of walk me through the moments where you're like, I love my job at AdvancedGG, but I think it's time to do something else.
So it's kind of, I am this way with other things too, like with our house and also like with the job. I'm kind of always keeping my eyes for what's out there. Right. I think with Advanced, I really learned that I love working with streamers and being a supporting character or a support for full-time content creators. I was like, even if I'm not going to be that myself, which is okay. I can still be involved in this industry by supporting other people. And I think working that job with Advanced really showed me how much I love working with gamers, with content creators, with streamers. I love working in partnerships or influencer relations. But I always keep my eyes out for, okay, what else is out there? So I kind of got in my head like, well, if I was going to plan like long term, like what's the end goal? What's like that dream job look like? And then from there, what steps do I need to take to work towards that? So this is kind of one step, and everything like was on good terms with Advanced. There's no burned bridges there. I'm staying on as a partner. I'm staying on as part of the Advanced fam, and I'm so grateful for that. So it's all good. It was just I was ready to kind of have a new adventure, doing something that's similar to what I was doing, but with a new company with Soft Giving. And the big thing for me is I'm excited to get involved in helping people raising money for charity, as opposed to product sales. And that's not to say anything against Advanced, because I mean, I drink the Focus every day. I love their products, but I was ready to kind of take what I learned and use it for supporting streamers that are doing charity events. And that's really what Soft Giving is giving me the opportunity to do.
So, okay. So you're looking looking and you make the decision, you talk with your family. What's the conversation like with Eric?
You're gonna get me in trouble, Bill.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know.
I honestly think that at first Eric might have felt a little bit of betrayal, but when I kind of explained my reason for why I was leaving and that it wasn't for any like negative reasons, he really came around and was very I don't know what to say. He was very just kind. He said, just hope that like you go far and one thing he told me, I'm going to get emotional, but he was like, if you ever need anything, like we're here for you, you know? Nice. And like, when you hear those kind of words on your way out, it's like you really appreciate, like that you built up more than just a working relationship. Those are still, friends. And, Cody, who is my direct supervisor, said, if you ever need, a letter of reference, let me know. I'll send it over. And Eric said, I'm really excited for what you're doing. I understand why you're moving on to something else, and we'll miss having you around, basically. So yeah, that was. But I think it started off with just the why. Like, why are you leaving? Maybe a little bit of shock because I wasn't unhappy with Advanced, and they knew, So it was kind of a surprise that I was going to find something different. But I think I was just ready for a change. Yeah.
See, and that whole conversation right there speaks to the culture of that company. Is that they yes, they obviously don't like it because they brought you on. You're good at what you do. They're really happy with growth, but they also know, like, okay, well, you know what? You're a fantastic human being. We want you to be happy. We want you to grow. We want you to be that person that you want to be. And
yeah,
finding bosses that are like that is very rare. It's very rare to find people like, you know what? Okay, we're sad you're leaving. We are happy for you that you are making this decision, without being, there wasn't a huge blow up, a huge problem where you're like, screw this, I'm out of here. You're more like, I love what I've learned. It's time for me to take the next step. That's a really great thing to say about a company. And I realize I keep saying this, but it speaks to the culture of who they are. And it's people like that this industry desperately needs. They desperately need good people in charge. So I am extremely happy for you. So as far as soft giving, you sort of hinted at it. So what exactly are you doing there?
So I haven't started yet. I started officially on Monday.
Got it.
But I will be, at least for the starting period, I'll be an influencer talent recruiter. So basically I'll be reaching out to a lot of streamers and asking them if they want to do a charity stream through soft giving. And then we support them, give them the tools to be successful, help them to, pull off a good charity event. But at the beginning, it'll be a lot of outreach, called a recruiter for a reason. So I'll be recruiting people to come and do a charity streams through the soft giving platform.
So what does soft giving do for you from a personal and professional standpoint that you, and this is going to sound horrible, and I'm not trying to rip on anybody. I'm not. Please understand that. But what does soft giving give you from a personal and professional standpoint that you either weren't getting or didn't feel like that you could get with Advanced?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, but I think it more specifically answers this question, is just that emphasis on using live streaming platforms to benefit charities. So going from product sales to charity support, I think was the big move. And that was probably one of the main deciding factors. Yeah. Okay.
And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to say anybody is doing a bad job anywhere. I just want to understand from your perspective, why make this move? Because some people will be thrilled to death to just have that job and just stay there. But then at some point you have this have this personal need. You're like, I love my job, but I want something that perhaps this place doesn't give me. I'm not upset at this place, not the slightest, but I want something more. I have a great skill set. I have the background and the understanding now to move forward to something else. So I think
you kind of hit on it too. It's really kind of a test of, can I take that training and experience that I got from Advanced, and can I use it in another company or another avenue? I think I decided that I wanted to stay in partnerships, influencer relations, whatever you want to call it, within gaming and esports specifically. But I haven't really decided where I want that to land full time. So for me, going from the place that trained me and brought me up, and now taking that into another company is a really good chance for me to grow and to continue to develop and to learn under new systems and new people.
Right.
So I think I'm excited. I mean, it looks good on a resume too.
It does.
To have a little bit more variety, but still under the same umbrella, which is what I was looking for.
Awesome. Magic, I am so happy for you. You sound, it sounds to me like you are in a spot where you feel valued on all sides, not only from your work, but your family. You have a good, and it's not something that you like get to, but you constantly have to manage when it comes to balance with your family, the kids, because as your kids age, that's going to change too. As you stay married, that whole relationship is going to change. So I am very happy for you. You sound like you're in a fantastic spot right now.
Yes, thank you. It was definitely a lot of prayer. I'm a believer, and every step of the way, it was just praying for peace and guidance for what's that next step, and learning to be okay with not seeing the end of the road, but just the next step in front of you. And that's a hard thing. I'm still learning that. But
yeah, me too.
I really believe that, when God directs your steps, he gives you peace for where he wants you to go next.
And I wholeheartedly agree. Magic, you're a fabulous human. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Please do like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out GBIRL.com, where you will find audio versions of some of these episodes, as well as GBIRL Raw, the sometimes not suitable for work unscripted rant fests that I have sometimes. One of these days, Magic, you're not gonna have to do that with me. We'll just rant and riff about whatever comes to mind. It's
sounds like fun.
It's sort of like a free form. I don't have notes. I just like, here's what I want to talk about. Let's rant. But anyway, check out GBIRL.com. Thank you everybody for being here. Please, like I said, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in today. You can find links to everyone on the show in the description below. Check out Bill the Conqueror on Twitch and Twitter to stay up to date on his thoughts and ideas about gaming culture.